Dear learners, I welcome you all to the next video lecture of the course on gender and the media, and this is the Unit 5, which we have named as Understanding Mass Media. So in the next 30 minutes, we will try to explore the broad world of mass media, and we will try to discuss the various types of mass media, its characteristic of audiences, the reach and access of media. And we will also try to shed some light on the role that media plays in our society. First of all, let us look at what mass media mean. Mass media refers to the means of communication that are designed to reach large audiences, whether it's television broadcast, newspapers, radio stations, or social media platforms. Mass media connects millions of people globally. These media channels, they help to transmit news, entertainment, information, advertising, and educational content to a vast, diverse groups of people. As carriers of messages of mass communication, mass media are very powerful instruments for informing the people or the masses about virtually anything on the earth. The various types of mass media possess different characteristics. They have different advantages, different disadvantages. And most of the time, it is important to note that whenever a media publicity campaign has to be taken up in any sector or for any product, it will be a wiser idea to have a media mix of all the available media in the society, instead of depending upon only a few selected ones. This is because, due to technical and some other characteristics, every mass medium has its unique aspects, which also determine what kind of audience or readership it will attract. Mass media can also be classified into several categories. Print media, that includes newspapers, journals, magazines, books, or anything that is printed. Electronic media or audiovisual media, that includes television, radio, films, and the new media, which includes internet radio, blogs, etc. Print media includes the mass media of printed words. On the other hand, electronic media or audiovisual media have under their jurisdiction television, radio, films, etc. Nowadays, as the internet is gaining an ever-increasing popularity among the masses all over the world, it is being included in the category of new media. In this category, the system of blogs is also becoming highly significant, as they are being increasingly accepted as a medium of expression for mass use. It is still being debated by mass media experts whether the internet and blogs can be declared as media of mass communication or not, and unanimous agreement is yet to be arrived at. It is true that when a message is uploaded into the internet through an email address or a blog, it becomes accessible to innumerable people anywhere in the world. But it lacks the specific characteristic of mass communication that the messages or information has to be available at the same instantly to anyone interested in receiving it. This is because all the people that the messages is aimed at may not access it at the same time. We shall come to discuss reach and access in the later part of this video lecture. We all know that when we listen to or see something, it leaves a much better influence on our minds than when we just read the same thing. We can say that credibility as well as influence increases in an ascending order from print to radio and television. In print, you shall only read the printed words. In radio, the advantage is that the words can be heard by the audience. And in television, both listening and viewing are combined, and it has more influence over the audience. Now let us take a closer look at the media of mass communication, the different tools and platforms used to communicate with larger audience. As we have already discussed, television and radio are the oldest and most established forms of mass communication. They have the ability to reach millions of people simultaneously, whether through a news broadcast, a weather update, or through popular television shows. Print media, including newspapers and magazines, played a dominant role in the mass communication landscape for decades. While their role has been challenged in the digital age, print media remains highly influential, especially in providing in-depth reporting, investigative journalism, and various feature stories. As we have already talked about the digital media or the new media, the most significant changes have occurred in the last few decades. The internet has revolutionized how information is disseminated, making it faster, more interactive, and far-reaching. Platforms like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, they all allow individuals to create content and engage directly with their audience. Various websites and blogs, they also serve as hubs for information, entertainment, and social interaction. One of the defining features of mass media is its ability to reach a large audience. A single television broadcast, for example, can reach millions of viewers around the world. This vast audience reach makes media a very important tool for influencing public opinion and shaping cultural norms. From national news channels to global events like Olympics, mass media can create shared experience that unite people across different regions. Mass media is typically designed to be accessible to the public. Television and radio stations, they broadcast content to anyone with access to a television or radio. The internet also allows anyone with a device and internet connection to access content, making media widely available. Mass media often involves one-way communication, where the media entity sends out a message to the audience without receiving immediate feedback. For example, a television station broadcasts news, but viewers generally don't respond or cannot respond in the real time. However, digital media platforms like social media, they allow more interaction. They allow two-way communication. Viewers can comment, like, and share content. And this creates a more dynamic form of communication as compared to the traditional forms of communication like television, print, or radio. Again, mass media content, they tend to be standardized. That means it is designed to appeal to a broader audience. For example, a primetime television show is made to attract millions of viewers so that it can cater to niche audiences with very specific tastes. There is also a rise in niche media content online with the use of the new media. Here what happens is the creators focus on more specific interests and various demographics of their audience. Mass media is often focused on delivering timely information. News programs, radio stations, and websites, they constantly update their content to reflect the latest developments so that they can keep their audiences informed in the real time. If we specifically talk about the print media, it is a portable medium. That means people can carry it along with them to read at the leisure time according to their own convenience. A lot of space is available for covering many news items when it comes to the print media. The professional communicators involved with the read-only medium must be able to create the desired impact on the masses by using only the appeal of written languages. It has to be physically delivered to the people's houses, so it is a time-consuming process. Literacy is a requirement when it comes to the print media. Then the geographical constraints may arise in terms of its access. When it comes to radio, it is an old and widely used technological communication device for disseminating information. It is flexible, diversified, and easily accessible medium. As an electronic media, its messages need not be carried physically to the readers. Literacy, however, here is not an issue. As an audio medium, the professional communicators are involved in order to influence the listeners by the modulation of their voices. It is a cheaper medium as compared to other available media forms, which can be enjoyed irrespective of being literate or illiterate, rich or poor. And it has the reputation of truly being the medium of the masses. It is also termed as a sightless medium. In case of television, the retention rate of messages among the masses is quite high, as television has its visual impact. Programs can be enjoyed at their scheduled breaks of time. Scope for manipulation of information is the least in this medium, as visuals constitute a considerable part of its program contents. When we are talking about media, one term which we cannot avoid is the audience. Audience here means the total number of persons who form the class of readership of a newspaper, listenership of a radio program, or the viewership of audiovisual programs. In a specific mass communication vehicle or media, particular programs, columns, events, or issues do have their own individual audiences. For example, in television or radio or newspapers, different columns, different shows, different news bulletins, talk shows, they may have their own fan following, which can be called its individual audience. Many a time, you may come across the term target audience, which basically means the segment of audience who are specifically targeted by a company or for selling something. For example, a company selling a product, there are more chances of being successful if it can identify and pinpoint the audience in an exact manner, so that all the efforts in advertising can be directed at them. The different types of products from the same group of companies will have different target audiences, as the products are quite dissimilar to each other, even though they are produced by the same company or group of companies. Audiences are the consumers of those products. As customer is God in the business world, companies try their level best to make themselves as much popular as possible, because more popularity or circulation translates into more people receiving the messages, and it is expected to boost the sale of the product. Here, this concept of audience as consumers, it considers the mass media instruments like television, radio, newspaper contents as brands, and audiences are as the consumers of these services. So packaging has become important due to the intense competition for attracting more and more audiences. Here we are talking about the packaging of the media content. As mass media organizations are driven by the urge to make maximum profits, they seem to be governed by extremely market-friendly programs and consider their audiences as consumers of media contents. And just as there is immense cutthroat competition among various products or services for gaining customers' attention, the same is the case with media contents as well. Quite often, advertisers make a choice between mass advertising and targeted advertising. Now, an advertisement in a local general commodities shop or a departmental store is aimed at the overall customer base of the area, and so it is called mass advertising. On the other hand, a high-profile motor vehicle or a luxury jewelry product, for example, they would aim only at a specific customer base, identifying the places with such potential customers, right? So its advertisement is targeted advertising. Now, mass media and the audiences, they form two integral sides of the same coin. The very existence of media would be threatened if the other did not exist. Ideally, the relationship between mass media and the audiences should be very cordial and constructive. This is because the media on their part should try their level best to inculcate a healthy, progressive, and thought-provoking attitude in the audiences, so that the edutainment function of media can be properly carried out. Mass media as an informal open university, in addition to the profit-making goal, have to necessarily shoulder the responsibility of educating the masses through entertainment, agenda-setting role, and showing the right path at times of crisis. Let us now look at two other important aspects, reach and access. Reach refers to the extent of the audience that can be accessed by the media content. Mass media has a global reach, and some events or broadcasts can be seen by millions, if not billions of people. Reach in mass communication basically means whether a particular mass medium is available to the masses at a certain place and a certain point of time or not. The Olympics, which is one of the major sporting events and various political debates, they often have global reach. And these content are transmitted to people from different cultures and regions. Access refers to who can actually access the media. While mass media content is available to many, access is still limited to some parts of the world due to the factors like economic barriers, lack of infrastructure, or government censorship. Access means whether a person has the necessary means to avail the services of mass media vehicles like television channels, newspapers, etc., if they are available at that place. For example, if you do not possess a television or radio receiver set or cannot afford to buy a newspaper or a journal, that means despite having the reach of those media, you do not personally have access to them. Although digital media is becoming more widespread nowadays, not everyone in the rural or underprivileged areas have access to the internet or modern devices. Finally, let us discuss the role of mass media. Mass media does far more than simply broadcast information. It plays an essential part in shaping societies, cultures, and even economies. Mass media is the primary source of information for many people. It keeps the public informed about political events, scientific developments, social issues, and so on. Beyond information, mass media is the key source for entertainment. Through its television shows, movies, music, and on other online content, they provide a variety of entertainment options. They can influence trends, and they may also set popular culture. Mass media plays a critical role in shaping public opinion. The way an issue is framed, whether in the news or social media or in advertising, they can influence how people think about that particular issue. Media can influence our minds to a great extent by shaping our attitude, personality, and the overall lifestyle. Hence, whenever there is a need for creating public opinion about any specific issue, mass media is the most effective and important tool to do so. Though media are not supposed to tell people what to stand for and which side to be taken on important issues at discussions, what media does is they give adequate amount of hints to the people indirectly, dictating which side the public can take or which side they should not. We have earlier mentioned that our literacy rate is not very impressive, and even among literate people, a majority of them are not much concerned about different issues of our society. But every day we are being confronted by hundreds of important issues with the potential to cause a big damage to our society. And if the society in which we live is disturbed by them, definitely we will also be affected. Out of so many issues and events taking place, trying to catch our attention, which of them should be given priority and which of them need not be given attention? The question remains here. So mass media have a great role to play by preparing an agenda to be put in front of the people to act on significant issues. In the earlier video, we have discussed about the agenda setting theory and the agenda setting role of mass media. So this is where the media can play a role. So it is natural that people look towards mass media for leadership and opinions at times of crisis. This is because most of the time, the mass people do not have enough access to sources of information which the media possess. And that is why they are in a much more advantageous position to form a balanced opinion on those issues and can place them before the people for creating public opinion. Lastly, mass media can also be a powerful force for social change. If we look at the previous roles of mass media, we can say that the mass media can bring attention to social issues like climate change and others. So this is for today. In the next chapter, in the next video lecture, we shall try to discuss more on the issues of mass media and how it can be related to studying gender. Thank you.